Hello, everybody. I am so excited about my guest, who you can see over there, Gene Titus, also known as Titus Unlimited, to the millions of people who follow him on social media. He has been inspiring me, along with those other millions, I don't know, for at least, I think it's got to be close to 10 years now.
Yeah,
But you know what? Yeah, it's not just that you look so darn good, Gene. It's that you walk the talk. And that is what keeps me coming back to this guy who's probably 10 years younger than me, but he keeps me moving. He keeps me thinking. He keeps me on the straight and narrow when I'm trying to figure out what I want to eat. Back in my head, I'm like, would Gene eat this, or would he come up with something a little more creative? So welcome, Gene Titus, Titus Unlimited.
Thank you so much, Diane. It's a pleasure to be here.
I am so excited. And while we're going to keep this episode evergreen because what you talk about is so evergreen, this is a big day for you.
Yes, it is.
Tell everybody why.
It's a big day because today I'm actually releasing or dropping my first book. And it's entitled Unlimited. So there you go.
Oh, let's get a good look at that. Wow. Nice. Yeah. I'm so excited about this. Now, I want to know, what is this like? Your Instagram's very interesting. You've got a bit of nutritional advice. You've got bodybuilding advice. You've got overall health advice. You challenge the status quo. You talk somewhat about supplementation. What's your book got in it?
Well, my book is, my book is more of it's a memoir slash, I would say, motivation kind of book, because people always ask, how did you get to where you are? And how does one basically, because a lot of people our age are looking for a reset. Yeah. How did you do your reset? What was behind your reset? And so what I did is I actually, told some of the stories that I've told, about my upbringing from my parents, my childhood, and some other, I would say, monumental or pivotal moments in my life that all led up to my embarking on this path of unlimited. And, some of the struggles that went along with it, and just the mindset that you have to be able to have the courage, basically, to reset. Because once again, that's a lot of people don't do the reset because of courage, because you're going to disappoint people. You're going to walk away from everything that everyone says you should be doing and do what you want to do. And and a lot of times that takes courage, because you're going to separate from the pack. A lot of people won't understand you. Some people will shun you. Some people will straight up tell you you're stupid, but your path, or the path to greatness, your greatness, whatever that looks like, always goes through a lonely part. And that's why most people don't do it, because most people, if not anyone, no one's going to go on this path with you, but it is very gratifying when you start to go on this path and you go through those periods, and then you start to see the fruit of what you actually were after. And that's when, you're grateful for having the courage to do it. So that.
You just nailed such an interesting point. And I have this conversation with quite a few of my clients, and they'll say something like, this is like one of the best days of my life, and none of my friends said congratulations, or, I just didn't feel like they'll say, it's not like I really needed them to say that, but it just would have been nice. And you touch on the fact that when you start to break away and you do what's really important to you and really define your destiny, you're creating your life the way you want it to be, you do leave a lot of people behind.
You have to. Your dream, your vision, your purpose is yours. No one has to believe in it but you. Okay. No, that's no one else's job. All right. And so what we find is most people live their entire lives for the pleasure of others, for the applause, for the acceptance. And the day your authentic life truly starts is the day where other people's acceptance, other people's applause, doesn't matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that you live a life that's selfish,
Right.
because I think the highest calling is to have a life and have a purpose that
Mm-hmm.
enriches the lives of people around you. But the first person that has to feel good about their life, about your life, is you. And if you don't feel good about your life, then unless you know something I don't know, you only get one. And I always envision that last day when I'm alive, laying on my deathbed. And the only question is, what did I do with my life? Did I do anything for me? Did I chase my goals? Did I use my skills, my talents, my abilities to the best to serve a path, or walk a path that I am comfortable with? Or did I spend my entire life for the pleasure of other people? And you and I both know this, Diane. As you get older, you realize that nobody really cares about you. And it's not about, it's not, here's the crazy thing.
So true.
They're not against you. They're just for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
No one's against you for real. They're just for themselves. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at what people do and how people react and all the, it's very, very rarely does it really have to do with you. It's how you make them feel about them. And that's the reaction, And once you can understand that and you start walking your path, you realize that, first of all, they'll be okay. And it really doesn't matter as long as you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not only that, I find it tends, when you do that, I think it lifts everybody with you. Like you
Yeah.
went online and you started, first you started maybe showing, your workout videos. Then you started to throw in some cooking in your kitchen or something you were eating. Because I'm sure people would say, well, wait a second, besides lifting weights, how do you get those big muscles? How do you get those thighs? So you were lifting people with you in the process of doing what you love, and you do so well.
Yeah, so if you look on my page, one of my favorite quotes is that we rise by lifting others. All right.
Mhm.
And my dad always told me the true mark of a gentleman is someone who puts more into the world than he takes out. And so my getting on social media was totally by accident. But when I realized I had these people looking at me and coming to me, I had to pretty much on the fly figure out, okay, what is it that I want to give them?
Mhm.
And a lot of people, you know, at first they gravitate towards your physique and stuff like that. But for me, it's way more than that. And
Yeah.
so, what's your mindset? What you know, what values and integrity do you have? And yeah, I'll help you with your diet and everything like that. But a lot of people realize that health, real health, is more than just the physical. It's not only the physical, it's the mental and the spiritual health. And if you're misaligned spiritually and mentally, your physical will always suffer. But a person who's properly aligned spiritually, mentally, and then that they will always be congruent to who they really are. And that spiritual health is how you see you and how you value you. And once you start to place yourself in the right place, seeing yourself in the right place and valuing yourself accordingly, the rest falls into place.
Mhm. You do seem to personify that. I mean, it's interesting whether you're looking at a picture of you in the gym or whether it's in a suit.
Right.
You have a presence, and that presence says, "I'm here. I belong here. I'm comfortable with who I am.
Right.
Join me if you want, but I'm going to be having a good time either way."
Yeah. I mean, but that's how you have to be, and that's how everyone has to be. And
Uh-huh.
that's even the reason for the cover of the book. If you notice, is half shirtless and half tuxedo. You know, and so and that's
That
what it
was
kind of
very
speaks.
clever.
Yeah, I did a survey about it, and I had this idea for years about this, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this. Something
Mhm.
different and something new. But yeah, what I try to show is I try to show a complete person who is confident in who they are and looking to give to people who want.
Mhm.
You know,
If you were going to encourage whether it's a younger man or woman or someone who wants to do that reset at any phase in their life, what would be your recommendation of where they start? What does starting look like? Because starting is always the toughest thing. My mother used to say, Diane, 5 minutes into the job and it's halfway over. I'm like, Mom, it's going to take me 3 hours to weed the driveway. And she'd say, no, 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 don't worry. 5 minutes, it's halfway over. Because it was that start, that getting off. But it's probably why I'm always late now.
It's the decision. You know, I always tell the story. I had the pleasure of watching my father die. And because it was one of the best things to ever experience, somebody that lived life so well that when death was at his doorstep, he welcomed it. And he welcomed it because he did the best he could with what he had. He poured a lot into people. And when it was all said and done, he was able to see the fruit of what he had invested himself in, you know. And so, you know, my dad told me, as far as work goes, he said, ask yourself this question: find whatever you're willing to do for the rest of your life in exchange for food and shelter. And if you wouldn't mind doing that every single day, if somebody gave you a good meal and a good place to sleep, make that your thing. And then, you know, you can ask some other questions like, one, are you good at it? Okay, that's important. But if you're not good at it, you can always get good at it. But the second part is, do people need that from you? Do people need it from you? Because that is the greatest part of doing what I do. When I, you know, at this point, I've helped over 1,000 people get off medication, changing their lives. And money's great, Diane, you know, but no amount of money can replace opening up a DM and seeing, because of you, I was able to get off this. Because of you, I'm down 100 pounds. Because of you, I did this. Because when you're faced with your end, right, the amount of zeros in your bank account don't matter. The size of the house doesn't matter. The car, that don't matter. What matters is, did your life matter to people? And how many people were you able to touch, change, inspire? That's what I saw in my father's eyes, and that's what I wish for myself. And so my goal is to have the biggest impact as I can, right? Doing what I do. And that's fulfillment. You know, life's not about for me, my life is not about happiness. It's about fulfillment. Yeah, you're going to have some happy times in between, but are you fulfilled? When you wake up in the morning and you look at your life, do you know why you're here? You know, because once you have that answer, right, you can wake up every single day and do that.
It's funny. We're very aligned in thinking. In my case, it was my mother that did that. At 92, when she died, she was ready to go. And she had done all these things for other people and, really took care of herself, just was a great personification of healthy living and working out. I remember bouncing in the pool to George Benson because she just wanted to keep herself in shape, And it was a lifetime lived, which is a great role model. You made some interesting points about intention and choosing what you want to do every day, almost regardless. And I couldn't agree with you more, because money's great. But today I was writing about time and energy. And everyone will tell you time's the most important thing. You can read 15 million business books probably, and they'll all say time. You got to manage your time. You got to take care of your time. Well, you know what? You can hire people who can do time factor things. But your energy, all you need is to have a cold for 24 hours or a bad headache. And you realize it's your energy is far more valuable, in my opinion, than time. Because you can feel like crap.
Your health and vitality is the most important thing. The two most important things in this world is health and time. However, if you invest in your health, it'll buy you more time.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. All right. I've sat in a room with people who are worth way more than me.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you look at them and you see that you have something that they envy, and they would give up a lot of their wealth for your health and vitality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like Steve Jobs said, with all the money he had, he couldn't pay anyone to lay in the hospital bed for him.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people don't understand the true value of their health until they lose it.
Mm-hmm. What you just said reminded me of a book I read in, I think it was 1977 or 78. I have a photographic mind for different things I read in the books. And the book was, if you meet Buddha on the road, kill him. And it had 40, funny name for a book. It's a little purple book with yellow writing. And it had 40 lessons to live by at the very end. And one of them was, never forget that when it's time to get in your coffin, no one's jumping in with you.
No.
And it was like such an eye opener to say, it's a really harsh way to say, you know what? Get on your own path. You can spend your whole life trying to please everybody. No one's going to jump in that coffin with you when it's over, and it will be over one day.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to ask yourself, what would they do if I died today? Well, the truth is, in 30 days, they'll figure it out. Some people in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people are working jobs right now that if you died early enough in the day, before the end of the day, someone will be sending your emails.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're killing yourself for.
Yeah.
And once again, it will be great if that job was giving you fulfillment. But in many instances, those jobs are not giving people fulfillment. It's just a check. And so I would urge anyone to invest in that thing that does give you fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both know about the 10,000-hour rule. Put time into it. If it is your passion, you should be able to put time into it. If you love it, you should be able to put time into it. And when you do, you'll do it well enough that people will be willing to give you something for it. And then sometimes in life, we have to adjust the things we want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ask yourself, I went through this process maybe about 10 years ago when I asked myself about the things that I wanted. Why do you want that? Why do you want that car? Why do you want to do this? Is it because you want it, or because of how you think people will see you and you have it, wear it, go there, and all these things like that? And when you start to make decisions on the things that you really want because it means something to you, you find you want less. Because most of the things that you wanted before wasn't even about you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then you say richest is the man whose wants are the fewest. When your wants start going down, right, it's very freeing. Because you only do the things that you truly want because it means something to you. It's about an experience, not about a thing,
Mm-hmm.
And then and it's a different place to arrive at in life, right? Because once again, you're living your life by your terms.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's so much truth in that. I recently experienced it in a different area, but for years, probably because my mother would take us to thrift shops to get clothes. That's how we got our clothes. And so I'm just a thrift shop person. My entire wardrobe, unless a brand sends me clothes, came from a thrift shop. And but people are always like, where'd you get that? I'm like, oh, this thrift shop or this flea market or wherever. So recently, I just had closets full because I had created a prop closet for other people to come use it when they wanted. And I finally just said, I want to get rid of this. So I called up all these people I know and said, come take whatever you want. And they were like, well, wait a second, this is like a fortune here. I'm like, it means nothing to me. It's a bunch of clothes that I bought secondhand to start off. And it was the most lightening experience. Of course, now I'm going to wear the same 4 things instead of the same 5 things. But there's so much to that shedding and saying, do I really need this? It's taken up space. I'd rather now I look at this big white room. My husband and kids say, why are you putting something in there? I'm like, you have no idea how much I like sitting in that white room. Nothing's in it.
Yeah, as I've evolved into, thinking about things a lot more, truthfully, like I said, I just want less and less, and I'm happy with the little things, and it's very free,
Yeah.
very free.
Where do you think that realization comes from? Sometimes I try to just say, is it just that I got older and like I've had it and I know it didn't deliver what I hoped it might have? It's just like, nah, yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
yeah.
I was fortunate enough to have a great dad who
Hmm.
gave me. My dad was 60 when I was born, so it was like
Oh,
having a
wow.
grandfather and a dad all in one. And he never talked to me like a child. I was kind of a special kind of kid that I learned very fast, but my dad would actually have conversations with me and explain things to me, you know. And I remember one of the most pivotal things, and as you go through life, you the world influences you, but you have that baseline there. And I
Yeah.
remember it was in the 70s, and Muhammad Ali was showing his 42 bedroom mansion, right? And I remember my dad sitting there looking, and my dad said, "That's a waste."
What do you
And
do
I'm
with
like,
it all?
and I'm like, "What do you mean it's a waste? A 42 bedroom mansion and stuff like that?" Because everybody around you tells you that's great. And my dad said to me, says, "Son, within reason, right? You can only be in one room at a time."
It's true.
He says, "No matter how good you are, you can only take up so much space, and anything after that is a waste." Now,
Mhm,
it would be different if this was coming from a man who was poor, who didn't
mhm,
have access, who couldn't have had those things. My dad wasn't, you
mhm,
know. My dad was a well-accomplished doctor. He was, physician to the president. He was a diplomat. He had tons of money.
mhm,
But when he gave that perspective, it's like, you know what? Yeah,
mhm.
it is a lot. It's a waste. And I remember the aha moment came about, and it's about maybe like 13 years ago now. Um, I had a house, and it was in the basement was a pool table and movie room and all that stuff like that. It was a townhouse. And I remember I walked downstairs and I saw this thing sitting on the pool table. And I was like, damn, I've been looking for that for 6 months. I was looking for it so much that I went and bought another one. And then the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, dude, you haven't been downstairs for 6 months because it's been sitting there the whole time. And then my dad came back to my mind and he said, see, waste. Why do you have all this space down here? You're paying for all this space down here. You haven't been down here in 6 months. And it made me start to rethink. And I was like, you know what? That's true. I have not been here in 6 months. And so all this thing right here is a waste. And I started to look at what I really use. And I realized I use the kitchen. I use the sitting area way across from the kitchen. I use
Mhm.
the bedroom and the bathroom. And so now all I have to do is find a place that I have those areas that are comfortable in a way that I like it, where I have everything I want, nothing I need. Nothing
Mhm.
extra. And so downsize in a
Yep.
condo, and that's what it is.
Oh my gosh. I am going to attempt to move this screen a second to show you something comical if you can see it. Do you see that?
Is that like an exercise bike? What is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
a range of motion machine that I bought
okay.
20 something years ago for like
Mhm.
$14,000 because I saw it in an airplane magazine and it said the 4-minute workout. Well, you notice it's got a Yeti microphone on it. It often has clothes hanging on it. My husband calls it my most expensive hanger because,
Wow.
because it's one of those things that you get. You think you're going to, you needed it. I needed that thing
So
when
you
I
needed
bought it.
it.
I was working so hard. I could only fit in 4 minutes of workouts. I needed that. You know what? It looks as brand new as it was the day I got it.
How many times have you actually used it?
Do you
Be
really
honest.
want me to humiliate myself and tell you?
Yes. Yes.
Probably in I and I said 10 years. I think I probably bought it in 2004 if I've used it 50 times, that would be a lot. I think it's probably closer to 30. And it's not that it's not amazing. It's a remarkable workout because it's pushing and pulling. You're on it 4 minutes. You are drenched. You could adjust it to your size. You know, you can, the most minor things, the flywheel is constantly intense motion. And then you get on the back of it and you work your legs like in the longest, like stepping you can imagine, like your knees are up to your chest and then down to the ground. But I don't do it. I don't need it. I
So,
like to take
less than once a month for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That's how we do though, until we wake up one day. And
now I'm awake. You want a machine? You just got to figure out how to get it.
I can be honest with you, right? I'm not going to use it because I have stuff in my house that, you know, well, I have stuff that I bought during the pandemic that I used to use, and now I don't use it.
Yeah.
You know, so that we all do the same thing, you know, and one day we wake up and then we just stop.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's exactly where I'm at now. So that's why I try to wonder, what is it that like kicked into that mode? Because when I think about downsizing from New York, I'm like, you know, I find myself saying, I want a kitchen. I want a room attached to the kitchen, because anytime someone comes, I prefer to make food ourselves. It becomes this communal thing. I want everyone in the same room, and then let's just eat right over there.
Yeah, that's what I have. That's what I have. I have a pretty large kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And it's right off of the living room, and I have a small dining table, and I have a balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a spare bedroom. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting state of mind to get to. And what I want to know is, when your father originally said that to you about Ali's mansion, was your first reaction, even though you knew he was well off, but as a child, you can't fully relate to that, was your first reaction was, oh, he's jealous? Or did you resist it? Or did you absorb that and understand it?
It was a mixture. It was like, okay, I don't understand what you're saying, but I had so much respect for my dad's perspective because I knew he wasn't jealous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he had the capacity to have the same. So what is it? And when I heard his explanation, right? Like I said, it stuck with me. I almost said I said word for word. He said, you can only be in one room at a time. And no matter how good you are, right, you can only take up so much space. Mm-hmm. And when you understand that, okay, how much space do I really need to move around? And okay, past this, then why do I have all this extra space? All these extra rooms? Mm-hmm. For what? What am I using them? Do I know 42 people that are going to come over at my place at the same time? You know, and when you start to ask yourself questions like that, then it's like, you know what, the old man was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had this house, you know, it's a pretty large townhouse. It was like 3 bedrooms, right? Mm-hmm. I only went into 1 bedroom most of the time, the kitchen, and I didn't even go into the living room. I went into the sitting room right across from the kitchen. So it's like, well, I just need a place that has a kitchen that's big enough for me to move around and do stuff. And I like a nice sized kitchen because I like to cook. And mm-hmm. I would love to have a sitting room where even when I'm cooking, I can talk to the people who I'm cooking or entertaining for. And then my bedroom. And then I have a nice view and stuff. That's it. I love a nice view. Well, what do I need all the other stuff for? You know? And so, no, it wasn't. I understood what he was saying, you know, once he explained it to me. Yeah.
What does your day look like? Because you have a lot of interests. What does a day in an unlimited life with Gene look like? A Titus unlimited day.
A Titus unlimited day. A Titus unlimited day starts at around about anywhere between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. So I wake up in the morning.
Do you use an alarm clock?
No. I haven't used an alarm clock in decades. Funny story behind that. When I was a child, my mother never allowed me to sleep past 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
good mother.
You could not be sleeping in my mother's house when the sun came up.
Mhm.
Okay. And my mother was a little bit more graphic with her statement. You're not gonna lay in bed and let the sun rise up in your ass. Get That was her thing. And so
I like your mom.
my mom was next level, okay? My mom was more of the battle axe. My dad was the calm one, you know. And so my day
Can
starts
I
around
ask
about
what their
5:36.
age difference was?
The age difference between my mom and dad was 31 years.
31. Okay.
31 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom had me up early. So now I get up anywhere between 5:36. As soon as how that kind of ambient light when the sun's going to come up in about an hour, as
Mhm.
soon as it happens, my body wakes up. And so I wake up, I generally kind of like stretch a little bit for like a couple minutes, warm glass of tea, use the bathroom. I sit and I stretch. I have like 5 stretch positions that I hold for anywhere between a minute or so, and I do it twice. And then I just kind of like relax a little bit.
Mhm.
And then by about 7 o'clock, I head down to the gym. And my routine, right now, my cold plunge is broken. But my routine was I would sit in the cold plunge from anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, right? And then from there, straight to go and work out. And then after working, my workout is about 300 to
So you
500 reps.
cold plunged first, then worked out?
Plunge first before you work out. The reason why is what people don't know. A lot of people don't know this is that cold plunging after your workout is great for recovery, but it kills any muscle growth or anything that you're going to have. Whereas if you cold plunge prior and go in, it boosts your testosterone, your human growth hormone, and all those things like that. So
Hmm.
I cold plunge, then I work out, and right after that, I either go for a walk, a 3 to 4 mile walk, or I go and I sit in the sauna. Um, and we have a sauna that goes up like 200. I sit there for like 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, you know. And then I come and I start with emails and consultations with clients and reaching out to suppliers and stuff like that. And my day goes straight until like 7, where I
Mhm.
take a break, and then I come on and do my live sometimes between 8:30 and 9, and then I go to sleep. I go to sleep and rinse and repeat.
So you start the day with exercise.
Yes. I always tell people, if you think about your life, Diane, and if you decide to give the first 90 minutes of the day to yourself, the first 90 minutes, invest it in your spiritual, your mental, and your physical health. All right. So you don't start off the day 15 minutes before you need to be somewhere and you jump up and you jump in the shower and you run. You're already starting behind. Wake up and ease yourself into the day. I always tell people start the day off with 5 wins. Winning is contagious, So when you wake up on time, that's a win. You do your little stretches, that's a win. You drink your water, you do your exercise, you go through your process. All those things build up rhythm and movement. So you've given yourself, you know, balance, exercise, peace, hydration, all these things before anyone can even ask you for anything. You've given yourself the best of you. And then
Mhm.
now you can deal with whatever else they have to. And does that mean your day is not going to get off kilter? No. But guess what? You have a better chance of having control over your day because you started your day in control. If you look at most people who have bad days, it started off bad. They started off late. They woke up and they started pouring into other things, frustrating things, answering emails, answering frustrating calls. Find that time to give yourself that 90 minutes. And when you look at 90 minutes, you know, over the course of 1 week, right? Well, that's like 7.5 hours. Over the
Mhm.
course of a month, right? That's over 40 hours. Over the course of a year, that's 500 hours plus of nothing but pouring into you. And if you
I
don't, if you
love how
tell
you
me
broke that down.
if you can't get better in 1 year with that, I haven't seen it happen yet.
I love how you broke that down. I've never heard someone say that before. That's very Titus Unlimited unique.
Yeah, it's just simple things, man.
Simple, but very memorable. Okay, what are you eating to fuel up? How do you power up that body?
Generally, my first meal doesn't come until after 12.
Okay.
Many a days I eat once. A lot of times I eat twice. So my first meal, a lot of times I like to do a smoothie,
Mhm.
right? But my smoothies are a little different. So my smoothies are 3 raw eggs, a half avocado, anywhere between 1.5 to 2 cups of frozen berries, organic berries, and then I put collagen, protein, and complete minerals, and maybe some creatine sometimes, and blend it up. And that's
No
my first meal.
bananas?
No, no bananas. You don't really want to put bananas with berries because they actually reduce the amount of the effectiveness of the berries. Bananas are great though, but they're great on their own, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, so I that's what I do for my first meal, and then generally my second meal is anywhere between is usually a pound of any kind of meat or fish. So
Mhm.
pound or more of steak or shrimp, or I mean steak or fish. I don't really do a lot of chicken, so I toggle between the steak and the fish, and then I pair it with either an avocado salad or or some kind of other salad like that. I like doing avocados, tomatoes, onions with spinach and arugula and olive oil, and
Mhm.
or I'll add in, I'll toss in some like mango with it and make a mango avocado salad with that. It's actually pretty good. But I eat most of my meals, Diane, are 100% whole food. It's very rare that I'm going to eat something that is not a whole food.
Mhm.
So I tell people, when you look at your meals over a month time, okay, over a month's time, the average person eats 2 to 3 times a day. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's just say 2 times a day for me. That's 60 meals. If you can work yourself to get to where 54 of those meals are great
Mhm.
and fall into the line of what I just described, does it matter if you had one French toast here or this here? No.
Mhm.
Because 90% of what you consume, if it falls into that category, you will be healthier than most.
Mhm. I'm a big believer in that. Do you drink coffee?
Um, Occasionally I drink coffee. So I do have one rule. I don't drink coffee to wake up. I always tell
Mhm.
people this. If you wake up in the morning after sleeping for 5 or 6 hours plus and you need coffee to wake you up, coffee is not your problem.
That's a
Fix the
very good point.
fix the root problem. The root problem is you're probably magnesium deficient or have a problem with your sleep. Fix that. All
Mhm.
right. And then when it comes down to coffee, if you're going to have a cup of coffee, drink it for the pleasure of it, not to wake you up. So
Mhm.
coffee has some great benefits, but the perk of coffee is not to wake you up. All right.
Right.
And so I would tell somebody, if you're going to have a cup of coffee, have a cup of coffee around about 11 o'clock or something like that. If you enjoy the taste,
Mhm.
I generally do a cup of coffee or so on the weekends, but I
Mhm.
do not do coffee once again at all, ever as a means to wake up.
Mhm.
Right.
Do you drink alcohol?
Occasionally.
Mhm.
Now, one of the things my dad taught me is, as a gentleman, always have a full bar. So when somebody comes over to your house and you ask them, what would you like to drink? And they say, well, what do you have? And he says, what would you like to drink? Because I keep a full bar. Now, there have been occasions, Diane, where I've gone 2.5 years and not had a drop of alcohol. There are
Mhm.
many times where I go weeks and weeks and don't drink. I do have one policy. I generally don't drink alone. And if I am going to pour a drink when I'm alone, it's a half a shot,
Mhm.
and it's only one.
If someone was to ask you what's more important, movement or food?
Ooh, that's hard. That's hard. But
Mhm.
I would say food.
Mhm.
I would say food, because you can have not so much movement for 5 days and get some great movement 2 days, but really, really good movement and be great. But if you had a lot of movement for 7 days and crappy food for 5 days, you're not going to be good. So I
Very
would have
good.
to.
That's an excellent explanation how you broke that down.
Yeah.
Well, hydration. There lot of schools have thought about water, hydration. Some people walk around sipping tiny sips all day. Others
Mhm.
say just, do 3 or 4 glasses, keep yourself in big gulps, do it. What do you think?
Um, there's this rule of drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. The reason why I tell my clients that is just to get them in the habit of drinking water, but it's more so drink when you're thirsty.
Hmm.
But if you're doing all the other things, eating properly and moving around, your body will let you know when you're thirsty. Drink
Hmm.
water. All right. And then, and when you drink water, I always tell people start the day off with a glass of warm water with lemon or lime and about a quarter teaspoon of sea salt.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously you can do a different types of herbal teas and stuff like that. But hydration is key. Some people tend to overdo it, you know, but I try to teach people how to eat intuitively. So I don't calorie count. I don't do any of those things. I teach you how to eat, and your body will talk to you if you listen. But you have to get all the other things out of the way, all the noise out of the way, to be able to
Mm.
hear your body and to understand what your body's asking.
One thing I didn't hear in anything you're eating, do you have any dairy?
I don't do dairy,
No.
and the reason why is because 70% of the world is lactose intolerant.
Hmm.
We're the only species that consumes the milk of another species. And
Hmm.
so, in as much as I can also tell people this, because I'm an honest broker, that things like raw milk are great for you if you're not lactose intolerant.
Hmm.
But when I'm talking to people, I have to remember 70% of the world is lactose intolerant. Almost 90 something percent of people of color are lactose intolerant. And so I tailor my message, for that. But if somebody asks me, is dairy good for you? Raw dairy, not conventional dairy mixed with the recombinant bovine growth hormone, you don't want that. But if you get raw dairy, it can be good for you if you have the digestive makeup to accommodate it. You know,
Hmm.
I don't, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Now, all these interviews go too fast. And this one, I could obviously keep talking to you for the next 2 hours. But as I told you, people are telling me they're not doing 90-minute workouts anymore. So they've asked me to cut my podcasts that they listen to down to somewhere around 45 minutes, which seems to fit their workout schedule more. But I have a question for you. You are Titus Unlimited. Unlimited means you're still going places and you have not stopped. What
No.
is what's unfolding for you as we speak? You've got a new book coming out. What
Got a
else?
new book. I'm building a new health platform because my goal is to be able to give great information about health, lifestyle information at an affordable cost to people without, raking them over the coals. So what I'm launching now is more so of a subscription-based health business that lowers the price but gives you more value.
That's excellent. I'd subscribe to that. I learn from you every time I see what you're saying and see what you're doing and hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
When
And
does
so
your
as far as your 45-minute workout people, compound exercises.
Mm,
Superset those. You can get your workout done in 30.
okay. Okay. I'm going to tell them that. I'm going to say we're doing a compromise here. You get shorter work, you get shorter podcast, but you have to do them compound exercise.
Compound exercises. Way more beneficial.
Where's your book going to be available?
TitusUnlimited.com. Everything's Titus. I self-published it, so I'm doing everything on TitusUnlimited.com. So
Oh,
the book is going to be available, and so will the ebook. Same place.
I love it. And the book is available when?
The book
Start.
is available today, starting today. So
Okay. So it's a Valentine's Day present to yourself and
yes,
maybe
and to my
others.
followers, honestly, because they played a very, very big part um, in um, in helping me build this platform. Because without my followers, I would not have this platform. They've inspired me. They've kept me on the grind. Because literally, once again, the followers give you purpose,
Mm.
especially when you know that you're changing people's lives and people are counting on you and looking at your consistency, your dedication. And so, yeah. So being an influencer is a lot more than just being popular. It's a responsibility.
It's so interesting you say that, because between Christmas and New Year's, I was like, it's just become such a noisy place. It's really, frankly, pissing me off that I know people are taking what I've written. I've been a writer since fifth grade. We'll take what I write and rerun it through AI and change it ever so slightly. And I was feeling a little disillusioned. And it's like the universe sends you messages. By New Year's, I think that was between Christmas and New Year's. So by New Year's, I can't tell you how many people just randomly reached out and said, gee, I noticed you posting a little less. I count on you every day. I look forward to what you have to say. And they started telling me these, which they've always done over the past 10 years, super personal stories, like, whose child died, or who's, something in their family that's traumatic. And they said, but your words said this. So it's very interesting you said, because we're different kinds of, if you want to call ourselves influencers. I just think we're creative people. But
yeah, I mean, yeah. The thing is, the greatest thing you have going for you, Diane, and we all do, is we inspire people.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, not even sometimes, they say imitation is the highest form of flattery. I'm glad that I am that you hold me in that high regard, that you take my words and repurpose them. Thank you. And the truth of the matter is, let's even look at ourselves. Let's be honest, right? All the words I say, all the things I say, at some point in time, I heard it from someone, you know.
That's true. I do. When I was talking to my kids about it, I said, listen, the bottom line is I'm probably getting it from Shakespeare. And who said it first? And we've all been extrapolating from him ever since.
Exactly. And then there's a lot of people that I've met that have varying ranges of intelligence that have said some remarkable things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Well, oh my gosh. I'm Diane Grissel. I'm also known as Silver Disobedience. This is the Silver Disobedience Perception Dynamics podcast. I have been speaking with Gene Titus, who goes by Titus Unlimited. You probably recognize that pretty face over there. If there was an arm, you would definitely recognize it. Or a smoothie getting made and some cool recipe with avocado and mango. He's inspiring. He keeps me going. He keeps millions of other people thinking about being healthier, living better every day. He's grounded. He walks the talk. I can't say enough about this guy. Get a copy of his book. There are going to be links to his website below. It's going to talk about what I love is process. How do people become who they are? And I didn't want to get into that because, frankly, we got into it a little, but I really want you to buy his book to learn about that. And that's why I'm going to go buy a copy, because I want to read it firsthand and not have any spoilers. So, Gene, thank you. We're going to move over to the green room. Everybody, hit subscribe. You're the best. Thank you. Hit subscribe, share this, and buy Gene's book. Okay, talk to you soon.